So this is again coming to the theory of reincarnation and the many lives we live to attain moksha. But again, and we have another thing you said that we humans only have the capacity to attain moksha. So, and so first it will be crude, and after that we become mature enough to realize God. But again, if you see history, like if you think about Homo sapiens, it has been like how many years? Maybe 10,000, 20,000 years. And if you say the average life is like 50 years till now, or 100 years, so it is maybe 100 lives we can reach God then. Or what about the ones who have realized God before?
This is interesting. All the time, Hinduism allows you to think for yourself, incorporate new information that is becoming available to you. Don't switch them off saying, oh no, it's all fixed, nothing, no, I don't want to hear anything new. Now, this is a strange thing because sometimes Hindus say, oh, Hinduism is million years old. He said, but a million years ago there were no human beings. Forget about Hinduism being there. How can you say million-year old? So, always be careful about exaggeration. Don't get over the top. Don't go over the top. Otherwise, you lose your credibility. Now, the recent evidence that we have, mainly from genetic research, is very interesting regarding humanity. It says we are all descendants from the same, if you like, tribe of human that are called Homo sapien. Homo sapien means one kind of an animal who is able to think for himself. Is a thinking human. The previous one, Homo erectus, means we're kind of upright, but they were not really clear thinkers, and they died down. But Homo sapiens continue to survive, and we are all the byproduct of this Homo sapien tribe. And where did they come from? How old is this? He said about 10, 20, actually it's much older than 10 or 20,000 years. The research now suggests that the first Homo sapiens appeared, through excavation, they find these kind of skeletons. They find the first Homo sapiens appear on Earth perhaps roughly, again, you see the openness. We don't even find some more research next week and find some different figures. Open to it. Roughly about 100,000 years ago, not 10 or 20, 100,000 years ago, the first Homo sapiens. Mostly, where? Africa. We're all Africans. The Homo sapiens came out of Africa, from Central and Southern Africa, and they're very small tribe, literally a few thousand kind of intelligent thinking humans started to move out of Africa. They're just wandering tribes. And the way they could come out of Africa was to continue to, because the only way they could survive was to fish. And they had a little kind of a spear thing they could just fish on the ocean or the seas. So they would walk along the banks of not banks, on the ocean face, ocean side on East and West Africa, and started to move out of Africa. So we are all out of Africa. This is the theory called out of Africa. If you go to Natural History Museum, there's a big thing on it, out of Africa. This is the theory now, well supported by evidence. We came out of Africa, moved along the coast because we could fish and survive. Otherwise, if you were in the middle of the thing, the other animals would have devoured us. So we kind of survived on the coast, continued to fish and move out. And then the first tribes moved out of Africa, went into Asia, into India, just via the coast, just moved along the coast of India and entered India. Roughly, I would say about 20, 30,000 years ago. This is the historic genetic evidence. So the first movement of Homo sapiens out of Africa, I would say settlement was in India, very ancient civilization. From there they went to Australia, and some branches went to Russia, and from Russia they entered North America, from the northern tip, Alaska. And then they went down whole America, slowly moving down, migrating, because we are talking 100,000 year history, so it's a long time. Moved all the way down to South America. So still all same family, whether you are Chinese, European, African, South American, Australian, Aborigine, same family migrating out of Africa. This is a marvelous genetic record you can actually check out. So during that time, there was ice age in Europe. I'm talking about, say, about 20, 30,000 years. There was ice age. So these Homo sapiens could not enter Europe, so they were more likely to settle in Middle East and Asia. But when the ice age receded, they started to move into Europe. There's very high chances that that's the reason why we see Sanskrit linked to European languages. Because they went out of India to Europe, not the other way around. It's not Europe who sold us in Sanskrit. We gave them Sanskrit. And from Sanskrit came Latin and Greek and English. So we are, if you like, the forefathers of some of these civilization, ideas of civilization. So this is how it went. So I'm digressing a lot, but I think it's nice to explore and explain the idea of Homo sapien and where we come from. And this is our same family, kind of moving around like this. Now the thing is this, the reason why we have a population of about 7 billion Homo sapiens today, 7 billion is a rough count of human beings on earth. And just a few hundred years ago, we just had a small percentage of this, a few million, suddenly become billion. So what is happening? We are seeing huge number of life force coming from the animal kingdom entering the human phase in the last, I would say, few thousand years. A huge number becoming mature, entering the humans. And this is why we have this huge backlog of human beings, 7 billion. And until they gain moksha, they keep being reborn. It just grows. It's not that they are reborn immediately. Some might take 500 years to be reborn. There might be a big queue there, so they might not be reborn. Yeah, because they need a body. And there's no body, no conception. How can they be reborn? They're just stuck up in the stratosphere. And let it be. But this is how this Homo sapiens kind of flourishing. And we see, when you see some brutality, some human beings doing such brutal things, and we shudder and say, how can we are so civilized? But don't you realize, some are being kind of moving from the animal to the human just in the last few hundred years. So they're still very wild. Haven't you, some human beings are so wild, so nasty, so brutal. And this is why we say, this is how we explain that it's not necessary that in 100 generations you'll make moksha. Because there's a mixture here in the world here, there's a mixture of people who have just been promoted from the animal kingdom and those who have been here for maybe long period, 100 generations, or 100 lifetimes, or 200 lifetimes, 1,000 lifetimes, difficult to pinpoint. There's a backlog and some are laid back, they don't want to get moksha, they're happy here, they keep eating the chocolate cake and coming back. I'll do that. So you keep coming back and you don't want to go anywhere. So there's big backlog here, that's why the population can grow and can grow much faster. This is where the souls come from. So I don't have exact number of generations you require or lifetimes for you to gain. There's no fixed rule. In some cases, it is almost like by chance, be very honest, that they get moksha like that instantly. In some cases, even though they are hardworking, very pious, very good human beings, they take many lifetimes. There's no fixed rule. Because moksha is like that. There's no fixed prescription that I can give you that, okay, only 20 lifetimes you'll get it. There's not a straightforward queuing system like that. So you can suddenly jump, queue jump, and get moksha much faster than others. And some will kind of be laid back and stay here for hundreds of other lives. There's no fixed answer.